In the previous lessons, we've learned how to properly validate incoming data to create a user. That's great. Now, if we go back to the user's controller, we may ask, is there something else here that could be validated? If we look at the update route, we'll see that it uses the update user DTO. If we go to this class, we'll notice that it extends a partial type of the create user DTO. This means that the update DTO is effectively the same as the create DTO, but with all fields optional, which makes sense, as if I'm updating a user, I may want to change only one field or a combination of fields. So this is already set for us. If we go back to the controller once again, we'll notice that these three routes have a similar requirement. Whether I want to find, update, or remove a specific user, I need to pass their ID, so that I can know upon which user I want to operate. The ID is being passed as a path parameter, as can be noticed due to this colon. All path and query parameters come over the network as strings. This is why the ID is a string here. After that, it is simply converted to number through the number conversion operator right here, and then sent to the service. But the ID is not being validated. If an invalid ID is received, then it is simply forwarded to the service. To showcase this, I'll go back to Insomnia, and let's use this opportunity to already create the requests for the other routes. So near the create request, I'll click on this arrow and on duplicate, and call this find all. Now, this request should be a GET request, and it has no body. So I'll delete this and choose no body. Now I'll duplicate the find all route and call it find one. The find one should have the ID as a path parameter, so I'll indicate it with the number 1. Now I'll duplicate find one 2 more times. Update. And remove. Well, update should use the patch method, and it uses the body. So I'll choose JSON again, and I'll copy the body from create. And lastly, remove just needs to use the delete method. Now, if I test these routes, they should all be working properly. This action returns all users. This returns the user with ID 1. This updates the user. And this removes the user. Great. Now, if we return to the find one request, just as an example, if I send this request, it shows the sent ID here. Well, what should be the sent ID? The ID is a serial or auto-increment ID. Therefore, its acceptable values are 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So you can notice that they must be numbers that are integer numbers and are positive. But if I send here a decimal number, it also works. If I send a negative number, it works too. If I send 0, which should not be accepted, it also works. And if I send any gibberish, it returns not a number, because it tried to cast to number, but this was not a number. So we can try to have validation so that only valid IDs are accepted. We'll do that in the next lesson.